Hi, I'm Brian Zabitsky with 10-Point Crossbow Technologies. With so many different arrow offerings available on the market today, choosing the best arrow to shoot from your crossbow can be a confusing process. In this video, I will discuss the differences between carbon and aluminum arrow shafts, the difference in shooting a lighter arrow versus a heavier one, and the relationship between arrow speed, arrow weight, and kinetic energy. Many hunters want to know, should I shoot an aluminum arrow or a carbon arrow out of my crossbow? The answer to this question is not as simple as saying, always shoot a carbon, it's far superior to aluminum. So here are some factors to consider. Aluminum crossbow hunting arrows, like this 435 grain XX75 Wicked Ridge aluminum, generally have the highest precision to price ratio of all crossbow arrows on the market. In other words, you typically will get a high level of accuracy and energy from an aluminum arrow, but for a lower price than a similar arrow made from carbon. However, aluminum arrow shafts can become bent if you do not use the proper target for practice, or if you use it to harvest an animal. Once an aluminum arrow is bent, it's very difficult to straighten it back out, which usually leads to accuracy issues and the loss of that arrow. Aluminum arrows tend to have a stiffer spine, which crossbows generally like, and tend to weigh more because the aircraft strength aluminum alloy used is denser than a shaft made from carbon fiber. On the other hand, carbon hunting arrows like this 400 grain 10-Point Pro Elite 400 arrow generally weigh less overall than aluminum arrows, but still maintain a stiffer spine due to the increased strength of the carbon fiber weave. Because carbon fiber is less dense than aircraft strength aluminum alloy, the shaft weight is lighter, and this translates into faster shooting speeds and flatter shooting trajectories than aluminum arrows. Carbon doesn't bend in the same way that aluminum does, so maintaining shaft straightness is generally not a problem. Carbon arrows are much less likely to encounter accuracy issues from being shot repeatedly as compared to aluminum arrows also. The process of fabricating the carbon fiber and weaving it into an arrow shaft is technologically more complex than the extrusion process used to make aluminum arrows, so carbon fiber arrows are oftentimes more expensive. Crossbow arrows come in many different weights that range from lightweight to standard weight to heavyweight. Lightweight arrows weigh in between 350 to 399 grains. Standard weight arrows range from 400 to 459 grains, and heavyweight arrows weigh in at a hefty 460 grains and above. So, why are there different arrow weights, and what is the best weight for you to shoot from your crossbow? First, to understand why there are different arrow weights, let's talk about your crossbow itself. Your crossbow transfers the energy stored in the bow assembly to your arrow through the string and accelerates it down the flight rail when you take a shot. Generally speaking, your crossbow applies a consistent amount of force each time you shoot it. Increasing or decreasing your arrow weight, then, increases or decreases the speed at which the arrow travels. A lighter arrow is easier to move from a position at rest, so the crossbow will shoot a lighter arrow faster than it will shoot a heavier one. Conversely, your crossbow will shoot a heavier arrow more slowly as compared to a lighter one. For you to decide which weight is best for you to shoot, you must consider the scenario in which you're shooting. If you use your crossbow for competitive shooting, like 3D archery, you should choose a lighter arrow that travels faster. The faster an arrow travels, the flatter the trajectory it has as it's flying to your target. This means if you misjudge the distance to your target, a lightweight, flatter shooting arrow will drop less fast, and you'll miss your mark by a smaller margin than if you had used a heavier arrow. If you're using your crossbow for hunting purposes, you should consider shooting a standard weight or heavyweight arrow. Despite the fact that these arrows will shoot more slowly, they carry a greater amount of kinetic energy or penetration power as compared to a lightweight arrow. Since maximizing penetration and cutting damage significantly increases your chances of harvesting an animal, you should shoot an arrow that has the greatest amount of kinetic energy while still shooting as fast and accurately as possible. Standard weight and heavyweight arrows also make your crossbow quieter, since more energy is required to accelerate a heavier arrow, leaving less energy to be dissipated from the crossbow as vibration or game spooking noise. Thanks for tuning in to this segment on arrow selection. At 10 Point, we offer a full lineup of carbon and aluminum crossbow hunting arrows. Be sure to check them out at www.10pointcrossbows.com.